Minecraft 1.21 has just released, and there are a lot of bugs in this update. From broken trial chambers and ways to farm infinite trimmed armor to a new type of illegal items, we have so much fun stuff to play with in 1.21. There's a few bugs that you should learn about so that you can avoid them, but there's also some great glitches that you can use to your advantage. Something you need to watch out for during the ominous trials is mobs that pick up your gear will not drop that gear on death, as you can see there. So if you die in here, if you're nice netherite or something, all that armor is gonna get deleted if you kill the mobs. The reason for this is that the ominous mobs are not supposed to drop their gear, as you can see here. There's actually a way to farm infinite armor from the trial chamber mobs, and this includes the trimmed armor that they wear. So how you do this is you have to find a baby zombie spawner, which has the mossy cobble and the regular cobblestone around it, and then we're simply going to convert these guys into some drowns. So basically just put some water around it, and they'll start shaking after a few seconds. Now, it doesn't seem like those guys dropped anything, and that's because of another bug. Basically, all the items just fell through the floor, which was very confusing for me, but as you can see, we're getting a whole bunch of trimmed armor, and this means that you can actually farm this stuff near infinitely. Now, I think that the baby zombies only drop iron and chainmail gear, but it's still a pretty good way to get some trimmed armor for your armor stands or just decoration. Now, this does not work with skeletons. As you can see, that guy is an ominous skeleton that was wearing armor, and even if they convert into a stray, they're not going to drop that armor. Even if we kill the stray with a looting 3, as you can see, he's not really going to drop that stuff, which is really unfortunate. So there's not a good way to farm diamond gear from these guys, for example. There's a really convenient bug with the trial spawners. So if you fight a vanilla one without the bad omen effect and then you kill all these guys, of course that is going to reset and give you a little bit of loot, and normally this thing would now be on a 30-minute cooldown. But if you have a bad omen potion, you can simply go ahead and drink that, and you can completely skip that 30-minute cooldown. And now we have an ominous trial. We can fight all these guys immediately and get our ominous key from this thing. Or a potato and a potion. No good loot guaranteed. A lot of you guys have thought that these chests right here are actually supposed to have loot in them, but they are actually supposed to be empty. The chests throughout the trial chambers are mainly there for you to dump all of your excess junk and loot into. That way it's not clogging up your inventory. These are not really loot chests, although I think you can find some items in them sometimes. This has been confirmed by the devs over on Twitter. Now, you might not even be able to find a trial chamber because the locator maps that the cartographer villagers sell at their 3rd tier sometimes don't even work. Normally, when you open this up, as you can see, it's going to have that little square icon right there, which indicates the location of a trial chamber. However, sometimes that icon just is not there, so this map is essentially useless. The only way to counteract this is to trade with another cartographer villager, possibly further away, or of course you could just use the website chunkbase.com to locate all of your structures. I think what causes this is that it's trying to find a trial chamber in currently loaded chunks. So if you created a new world, there would actually be a trial chamber there, but this guy doesn't know that you've already loaded those chunks, so there can't be a trial chamber there. Before you even get into the game, there is going to be a couple bugs that you might notice on the panorama. First of all, the left and right ladders of the trial chamber are asymmetrical. The left one is missing a ladder at the very bottom. If you have an existing world, sometimes you'll find a trial chamber that's generated partially through some older chunks. So the deep slate that you see here was generated before Minecraft 1.21, and then Minecraft 1.21 generated this trial chamber. So you might see some weird, funky terrain generation, and honestly, this is just kind of normal and to be expected. This can also give the illusion of a trial chamber being separated or cut in half, or being 2 different trial chambers right next to each other, but it's really just one structure, but some chunks were generated before the update actually released. And this is why it can be a good idea to trim your world before updating. Don't worry, trial chambers can overwrite other structures too. And of course you can find a ton of floating glow lichen and skulk veins, vines, and even some glow berries inside of the trial chambers. So it seems like the wind burst enchantment for the mace is actually impossible to get in Minecraft 1.21 because you cannot get it from the ominous vaults, and they also fixed the bug where it was available via villagers in the betas. So I actually think that you cannot get this in survival mode right now, which is, you know, maybe sort of a big deal. So you know how wind charges are supposed to break your fall? So if I fall off this pillar and throw a wind charge down, it should land before me and prevent me from taking fall damage. But as you can see, if I throw one while falling, it lands after I do, so it's literally impossible to save yourself with these things. This might not actually be a bug, but still really fun. So you can use the wind burst enchantment on falling blocks. So if you put like a piece of sand into a cobweb, for example, you can multi-crit this thing and just keep launching up into the air repeatedly. It's actually a pretty fun little thing to do for No specific reason other than you can. There's a couple new cursed things that you can get in 1.21, so if you simply place down a daylight sensor and then switch it, you can pick block this in creative mode, and you'll get this thing right here, tile daylight detector inverted.name. This is a new illegal item that you can get like super duper easily. You literally just pick block the thing. There's a really fun bug with woodland mansions where they can absolutely spam mobs. So basically how this works is if you load the woodland mansion right as the game is saving, it can essentially double or even more the amount of mobs in there. So essentially you can end up with a situation like this where you just have way more Vindicators and a couple more Evokers than you normally would, which I am all here for. I think that this is great and they shouldn't change it because the woodland mansion is honestly way too easy. This bug can be kind of useful. So as you know, the regular walking speed on slime or honey is just incredibly slow, but if you have a pair of Swift Sneak pants on and you crouch, you'll actually go visibly faster on these blocks. As you can see, you can actually walk at a reasonably decent speed. I haven't seen this bug happen myself, however, a lot of people have reported it, so if you go to edit a sign, it can just paste in the last thing that you wrote, so it can kind of just duplicate your text. There's also been a lot more block lag in this update, especially in creative mode. People will be trying to break blocks and they just reappear and you just cannot get rid of the thing. Especially on lower end devices, this is a much larger problem. Mojang also forgot to add the new witch drops to Bedrock Edition. So on Java, these guys guaranteed to drop a redstone on death and quite a bit of it as well. But that is not on Bedrock Edition right now. But hopefully we'll see that witch change in 1.21.10 for Bedrock Edition. And then our witch farms are going to be a lot better. Speaking of broken mob farms, spiders in 1.21 are going to be much more of an issue for our creeper farms, specifically because of a bug where the carpets and pressure plates do not prevent them from spawning. So normally if a spider would try to spawn right here, it would notice that there's a carpet there, and it just wouldn't spawn. But in Minecraft 1.21, you still get the spider, which is not good. I think this might also affect trapdoors, but I haven't verified that. Honestly, there's just a bunch of bugs that affect 1.21 mob farms. I made a whole video on that though, you can check it out for more details. There's also significant inventory lag, so items can get stuck in certain spots. As you can see here, they just literally cannot be moved around the inventory. Oftentimes reopening the inventory will fix it, but it's still annoying. There's a couple more weird inventory bugs as well, like the stack number actually renders behind the item texture when you move it. As you can see there, like the 6 gets completely buried by the paper, which is very strange to see. There's another weird bug with moving items across a chest as well. So as you can see, all these items right here are enchanted, but if we move them up into the chest, as you can see, they appear unenchanted for a split second there. Using this bug, you can also tell that the enchanted apple is just like a regular golden apple that they happen to give an enchantment glint to, which I guess was always obvious, but I thought it was more special than that. Do you see anything wrong with this image? Well, you shouldn't, but now you should. Slimes render in front of and through copper grates, which is, you know, kind of fun, actually. I'm not too upset about this one. Huge thanks to everyone who submitted bugs for today's Bug Rock. You can see their names throughout the video. If you found any new 1.21 bugs, let me know in the comments or somewhere else, and it might be included in a future video. But if you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing, and thank you so much for watching.